I want to tell you about a father. Now, some say he's my father. Some say he's your father. Some say he's like God Almighty, the Father, but he is a father. Not a mother, not a sister, not a brother, but a father. His kids called him Daddy. And he had two sons. Now, the oldest son was stronger and wiser. The younger son wasn't very strong, not too smart. And it was the younger son who came to his daddy one day while he was out in the fields plowing. And as he was out in the fields plowing, the younger son came up to me, his chest stuck out, lips pursed together, furrows in his brow, and he said, "Daddy, I need to talk to you." And his daddy, sensing that his son must be troubled, took his hands off the plow and put his big, rough, work-worn hands on his son's shoulders and just simply said, "Son." The boy softened a bit. He said, "Daddy, I need to tell you that it's time for me to make a life for myself, Daddy. I'm not a little boy anymore, and I got to go make a life for myself. And Daddy, I got to go. I got to go from this here place. I got to go." And the father, with tears welling up in his eyes, said, "Son, don't leave your father's house." But the boy said, "Daddy, I want my share of the inheritance. I want my money today. I want my money today, so I got to go. And if you bless me, Daddy, I'll go bless. But if you don't bless me, I'm still going to go, Daddy." And the father, seeing that the boy was stubborn in his head and haughty in his heart, gave him his money and watched the boy as he headed down the road and over the hill. And as he disappeared, he made up in his mind that he was going to come to that spot every day and look down the road to see if today was the day he would come back alive. And the boy ended up in a city. A big city, a big bright city with lights and noise and music and folks hustling, bustling, and coming and going and buying and selling. And it was a big city. Even in the nighttime, it looked like the daytime, and the boy was entranced by the lights and the life of the city. He spent his days in the gambling dens. Big six, throwing dice with the devil for his soul. Clackety, clackety, clack. Get back, Jack. Pay me what you owe. He had a wad of money. He had friends hanging off his arms. He was right where he wanted to be. Not right where he needed to be, but right where he wanted to be. Now, he spent his nights in the drinking dens, swallowing the fires of hell. And then he met up with the women of the city. Now, let me tell you something about the women of the city in Babylon. They were sweet-smelling, jasmine-smelling perfume. They were dressed in scarlet. They were dressed in purple, and their lips dripping like honey from the honeycomb. How about those women of the city? And that boy got caught up at the scent of the women in his nostrils, and it went to his head. But time came when the boy's money began to run dry. And even though he never took a course in mathematics, wasn't too good in geometry or trigonometry, it was an equation that he found out that when his money began to run dry, his friends began to run away. No money, no friends. No money, no honey. And so the boy began to search and look for some work because his money had run dry. It came about the same time that there was a famine in the land. And so the ground was thirsty and it was hard and everybody was looking for work and a job was impossible to find. The boy went door to door and house to house, day after day, and he couldn't find no work, and he started wondering about his path. He started thinking about his life, and finally he did find a job, and it was feeding pigs in a pig pen in the back of a farm. And how that boy longed just to eat the husk that he fed the pigs, even though it was dilapidated and rotten and slimy, just to fill his belly with what the pigs was eating. You began to see his bones shining through his chest, and his face began to get gaunt, and he started thinking of home. And it was there when he was on his knees in the muck, in the mud, in the mire, that he said, I couldn't hear nobody pray. Couldn't hear nobody pray. Couldn't hear nobody pray. Way down yonder by myself. And I couldn't hear nobody pray. And the boy was all alone, and all of a sudden, like waking up from a distant dream, he said, the servants in my father's house, the servants eat more than this. I will arise and I will go to my father, and I'll say, Daddy, don't call me your son anymore. I'm no longer worthy. I squandered my life away. Just take me back as one of the hired servants. Give me a crust of bread and a quarter and a bench to sleep on, and I won't say nothing else. I will arise and go to my father. So he took what little belongings he had left, and he started the long journey back home. Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on, help me stand through the storm, through the night, lead me on, Lord, help me fight. I'm tired, I'm weak, and I'm worn. Take my hand and lead me home. Now back home, his daddy had just finished plowing in the field for the day. And it was that time that he was going out to that spot to see if maybe today might be the day that his boy came home. And like so many days, he didn't see nobody. He was just turning around to go back in the house one more time when something caught out the corner of his eye. He looked up the road, and there with the sun glistening in his eyes against the backdrop, he saw a silhouette. He said, I know that shape. I know that figure. I know that head anywhere. That's my boy. And he had his walking stick, and he began to make his way down the road, but the walking stick wouldn't get him there fast enough. So he threw that stick down and began to hobble his way, but his hobbling, it just wouldn't get him there fast enough. So he just began to break out, and he ran down the road to meet him. And when he got to his boy, he put his arms around his shoulders. He just fell on him, and he cried, and he sobbed, and he heaved, and the boy cried. And the boy tried to break, and he tried to say, Daddy, I just want to tell you I'm sorry, Daddy. Don't even call me your son. If you just let me come back as one of your... I don't want to hear it. Tell it to somebody who wants to hear it, because all I know is my son was lost and now he's found. My son was blind, but now he sees. My son was dead, but now he's alive again. Somebody killed the fatted calf. Somebody get the ring. Somebody put a robe around him and get some sandals on his feet. My boy has come home. Welcome home, son. Welcome home. Thank you.